What's going on, fam? Coach Joe here, and I want to talk about a couple of things in reference to the kettlebell swing. A couple of things I want to keep in mind. And the kettlebell swing is a great movement for building strength and mobility and power out of the hips, as well as correcting a lot of posture. So I end up reinforcing good posture with the kettlebell swing. However, if we don't keep these two things in mind whenever we're performing the kettlebell swing, we increase our opportunity for injury. The first thing is going to be the movement pattern. We have to understand that the kettlebell swing is not a squat, it is a hip hinge. So what I'm talking about is, as we set up for our kettlebell swing, our feet underneath our hips, nice and strong. With the hip hinge, we send those hips straight back with a nice neutral spine. Notice I'm sending the hips back with a good neutral spine. What I'm not doing is bending the knees and rounding forward. There's no rounding of that spine. Keep the chest open, send the hips straight back. So you have to understand that the kettlebell swing is a hip hinge movement pattern, not a squat where we would send the hips back and down. So you are sending those hips straight back like you're trying to touch an invisible wall back behind you with your hips. That's the first thing we want to keep in mind, is a hip hinge movement pattern for the kettlebell swing. The other biggest thing that we want to keep in mind is the timing of the kettlebell swing. Now with the kettlebell swing, we're swinging this bell out in front of us, and then we're loading up into those hips. What we don't want to do is we don't want to perform that hip hinge too early. If we perform that hip hinge too early, that weight is still out here in front, and that's going to put a lot of stress on our spine, because we want that bell, that weight, nice and close to that center of gravity so we don't stress out that spine. So what I mean by that is, as we load up those hips in that good hip hinge motion, load them up, shoulders are back, chest is open, we snap those hips, we stand up nice and tall, that bell makes its way out, right? We got to remember that those shoulders are just nice free motion hinges. So we allow that bell to travel, keeping the shoulders packed back. Once the bell hits about chest height or chin height, we allow that bell to make its way back. We're about 45 degrees. Biceps touching to those ribs. Now I know that's that time for me to hip hinge and pull through. Forearms connecting to the inner thighs there, so I know I'm hinging all the way through. Good snap. Standing up tall. Bell comes out in front. Again, I'm patient. Connect into those ribs, pull through, and then snap. So if you want to think about these cues, pull, pop, plank. So when I talk about plank at the top, so I'm talking about standing up tall as if we're in that tall plank on the floor. So the shoulders are pulled back, upright torso, glutes engaged, quads engaged. And then I'm patient with that bell. Allow the upper arms to connect into the ribs, pull through, load up, pop, plank, patience, pull, pop, plank, patience. All right, so if we remember those two things there, you're going to decrease your risk of injury, you're going to increase your performance and the results that you get out of those kettlebell swings. So remember, first thing is the movement pattern. We want to remember that it is not a squat, it is a hip hinge. So we always want to maintain that neutral spine and send those hips back, hinging at the hips, trying to keep the shins vertical. And then the other second big piece there is the timing of it, making sure that we're pulling through, we're planking at the top, we're patient with that next pull. Allow that bell to come back down, trying to keep that bell nice and close to the center of gravity before hinging again. All right, guys, I hope that helps you all out with your kettlebell swings. You can always find us over at strongfitness.com. Also follow our YouTube and our Instagram channels. We're all over the place on social media. Y'all have an awesome day.